Readers who followed, or still follow, DC Comics are familiar with the Phantom Zone. It's a sort of parallel universe where people live a ghost-like existence. After Superman's father Jor-El discovered it, the Kryptonians used it as a prison for their worst criminals. It didn't appear in the comics until 1961, but since then it's been a staple of certain kinds of stories. This kind, for example.
Far beyond the boundaries of the Milky Way, in the uncharted void of deep space, an incredible fifth dimension of space and time lies parallel to the universe that we know. This interesting interstellar warp, which holds the most sinister and ruthless criminals in the galaxy, is the infamous Phantom Zone.
Krypton didn't have a death penalty. What to do with their worst criminals was an issue until they found this place. Banishing someone to a half existence where, as far as I know, you don't eat, you don't sleep, you can't actually do anything. You just drift and watch the people in the real world doing all the stuff you can't. This is called humane. Our current inmates are Logar, Romlock, and Hull. They've been here for 15 years. They watched Krypton explode, saw Superman grow up. Wait, 15 years? So he's only 16? Maybe Krypton years are longer than Earth years. We're going to run into a lot of that sort of thing today. But first things first, these guys may have a way to get out of the Phantom Zone. A certain comet is about to pass by them.
But its molecular frequency is similar to the ray device Superman used to put us here. It should produce a split-second warp between the Phantom Zone and the real universe. If our timing is perfect, we will be free.
Well, of course it works. If it didn't, we'd have 28 minutes of these guys floating around watching stuff happen. And that'd be boring.
It worked! We're free of the Phantom Zone at last!
Yes, and now it is time to seek revenge on the one who put us there.
Right. We shall destroy Superman.
Yeah. Revenge, blah, blah, blah. What I want to know is, they aren't anywhere near a planet or even a yellow star that we know of, so what are they breathing?
Later, in Naples, Italy.
Vesuvius, it's erupting!
Wait, Scott. Vesuvius is erupting again.
Holy Pompeii, if we don't act fast, it could destroy the city.
Right, Robin. You and I can handle it.
Wrong, Batman. You cannot handle it. We have caused Vesuvius to erupt.
They demand that Superman come out and meet them alone, or they'll do even more. There's not much he can do. It'll be 3 Supermen against 1, but he's sure he can handle it. Like too many politicians making promises, he doesn't bother to say how.
These lead suits will protect us from the deadly radiations within this box.
Being from Krypton, we're just as strong as Superman. But unfortunately, we have the same weaknesses.
Yes, but this is one weakness that will be the end of Superman.
Red kryptonite. Kryptonite has a long and diverse history of its own. Green kryptonite, at the time just called kryptonite, was introduced in the 1943 radio serial, but it didn't appear in the comics until 1951. We saw it in the live-action George Reeves series of the 50s, but it was used very sparingly. Red kryptonite first appeared in the comics in 1949, but between then and 1958 it behaved essentially just like the green variety. Beginning with Adventure Comics issue 252, red kryptonite affects Superman in unpredictable ways. Is that a great plot device or what? Expose him to it, and since it's unpredictable, you can make it do anything you want, from weakening his powers to turning him into a wombat. As the stories progressed, more and more colors were added. Only one more of those needs to concern us, and it won't come into play until later.
I've got to act fast. The lava's flowing straight toward the heart of Naples. A trench to flow the lava away should do the trick. I don't understand it. How could I have dug the trench in the wrong place?
The more he tries to help, the worse he's making things. It's as though his sense of direction is completely bazzleforfled. The question is why?
What on earth is wrong with me?
Perhaps we can explain, Superman.
Wogar!
That's right, Superman. We've been waiting for this day for years.
Your time has come, Man of Steel.
Your idle threats don't scare me, Romblock.
No, but this might. Red kryptonite.
No! Take it away!
Or you could, move away from it. I guess that's against the rules. He has to sit there exposed to it and listen to them talk about how nobody knows what it'll do to him, but they'll find out, ha ha ha, and then they fly away. He can't chase them. He can barely make it back to the Hall of Justice.
Superman!
What happened to you?
Those villains from the Phantom Zone exposed me to red kryptonite. It's aging me.
Aha! Today, the unpredictable red kryptonite made him look like me. Is that bad? The trouble alert shows the villains destroying the lock gates on the Panama Canal. Wonder Woman and Aquaman will go deal with it. Aquaman calls for a porpoise dam to control the water gushing through the canal, while Wonder Woman goes about rescuing ships that were floundering in the sudden rush of water.
I think that should hold the canal until the repair crews come.
Wrong, Aquaman. The canal is doomed, and so are you.
Now you'll learn what it's like to be in the matterless void of the Phantom Zone forever!
We've been transported out of the universe, and there's no way back.
A couple more such disasters, and they've drawn out all the Super Friends and sent them all to the Phantom Zone. And there's never a frequency-tuned comet around when you need one. Our villains have a special punishment for Superman.
You will be spared the horrible fate of your friends. A lifetime in the matterless void of nowhere.
No, Superman, that's too good for you. Yours will be an even worse fate. You will have to live with the memory of your friends you couldn't save.
From there, they go on a swath of destruction all over the Earth. Why? What did we ever do to them? We didn't even know they existed. But they've got a mad-on going, and they're going to let it all out to the point of defying the laws of physics.
Great Scott! They've sucked the water out of Hong Kong Harbor.
Not possible. For one reason, Hong Kong Harbor is connected directly to another body of water, commonly known as the Indian Ocean. It has plenty of water to replace what Hull sucked up, and instantly. Unless one of them is holding back an entire ocean, this high and dry situation should last about 13.5 seconds. With all the other Super Friends, including the Wonder Twins stuck in the Phantom Zone, and Superman continuing to age rapidly, there's only one thing to do: ask the computer what to do.
According to the data in the Justice League standard memory banks, the only possible antidote is blue kryptonite.
But blue kryptonite only affects Bizarro.
Correct, Superman. And because Bizarro reacts the opposite to you in many ways, it is possible that blue kryptonite, which is harmful to Bizarro, may actually be beneficial to you.
We got introduced to blue kryptonite in the comics in 1960. It was apparently invented to provide a weakness for Bizarro, and it affects him the same way green kryptonite affects Superman. It's deadly. The computer knows of one small deposit of it in the asteroid belt that was formed around Krypton's red sun when the planet exploded. Krypton's own history is a little convoluted. In the early days, it was in the same orbit as Earth, but on the opposite side of the sun, and that's why so many pieces of it ended up here. Then it got moved to somewhere in deep space, so we had to come up with a space warp to get both the kryptonite and baby Kal-El to Earth. Since the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths thing, I have no idea what any of it is about. The various kinds showed up in the series Smallville, which I still haven't watched, and Supergirl, which I also haven't watched. Aside from that, as far as non-comic appearances for the Blue Kryptonite go, this is it.
I'll have to take the Supermobile.
Using the incredible Supermobile, which Superman built to possess all his natural superpowers, the Man of Steel speeds off for his dangerous life-or-death rendezvous.
Okay, we're used to Batman coming up with ad hoc gadgets, but Superman? He usually comes up with a new kind of super breath or vision. Doohickeys aren't his style. Still, he's way too weak to fly there, and the whole asteroid belt is riddled with green kryptonite. So the spaceship should protect him long enough to find the blue stuff and bathe in it, or whatever he has to do.
Superman's got to be around here somewhere.
We've checked everywhere but the Hall of Justice.
It only just occurred to him to look in the most obvious place. These geniuses want to run things.
He's not here. He's probably hiding somewhere in fear.
Wait a minute. What's this? According to this computer flight plan, it looks like Superman took off for the site where Krypton blew up.
Then again, Superman isn't doing much better. Not only did he leave the door wide open and the computer running, I'll bet he left the oven on too. Out in space, he's used his last bit of energy to locate and grab the blue kryptonite. Bon appetit!
I've got it! Now to get out of this kryptonite's death trap.
There's enough green kryptonite in these rocks that the radiation is even penetrating the ship's lead shielding. He can't sit down to a meal of blue kryptonite in these conditions.
I made it out of that kryptonite asteroid belt just in time. Now to see how the blue kryptonite affects me. I think it's working. My strength is coming back. That did it. The process has been reversed.
My mistake. All he had to do was talk to it.
We can't get any closer. The kryptonite is already weakening us.
Superman must have figured a way to reverse the effects of the red kryptonite.
He's probably headed back to Earth to save the others.
In that case, we'll head him off and seal him in the Phantom Zone forever!
You guys really aren't too bright. Do you see a pass anywhere around here? Then how are you going to head him off? His first task is to get the others out of the Phantom Zone. There is no escape from the Phantom Zone. Once you're in there forever. Except those guys found a way out, and now Superman will too. They just don't build Phantom Zones like they used to.
My only hope is to alter the Supermobile's nuclear power source and try to change its frequency to that of the Phantom Zones. I've almost got it. That did it. Now to direct it toward the Phantom Zone.
His way beats the heck out of waiting for the right comet to come along.
Batman, Wonder Woman, I've got a plan to stop Logar and the others. Meet me in Space Quadrant 7.
Will do, Superman.
They have all these faster-than-light vehicles so they can hop over to any old part of space whenever they want to. And do they share the technology with NASA? No.
Oh no! It can't be! They're gone!
Wrong, Logar. We're right here, behind this invisible field. And we've brought you something you left back on Earth.
No! It's the red kryptonite!
Batman can make an invisible field. Again, does he share the technology with the Defense Department? No.
I'm shrinking. You won't cause any big trouble now.
She turned him over to Hasbro so they could make a new character for the original line of G.I. Joe action figures.
The red kryptonite! It's changing my molecules to metal!
You won't stop Romlock! The red kryptonite is having no effect on me!
That's what you think.
Oh no! My hair!
Hull changed his name and joined the X-Men, while Romlock returned to Earth and starred in dozens of Bigfoot capture videos.
And now that I've got back the Phantom Ray you took from me, you're all going back where you came from.
Yeah, when they forgot the red kryptonite, they forgot that thing too. Who knew their final downfall would be absent-mindedness? Superman announces that the comet they used to escape will be back in about 7,000 years. I hope they took a deck of cards with them. Superman puts all the devastation back together, I'm not asking, and all is well. The convenience fairy was hard at work in this one. The franchise didn't depart from, or more precisely create its own canon very often, but this is one of those times. When blue kryptonite appeared in Smallville, it had the same effect as gold kryptonite in the comics. It took Clark's powers away. That's the thing about these kinds of characters. Enough different franchises have picked them up that it's often hard to tell what is canon. Zan was playing with the red kryptonite one day and discovered that it also aged him. He found that if he exposed himself to it for a few seconds at a time, it would age him just enough that he could get into R-rated movies. Jaina never let him go to any, but with the aging thing he could have if he had had the opportunity. This is called humane. Take the glasses off, stupid. His first task is to...